Hello and good morning everyone. Thank you for joining Jade Global today for the webinar. We have a very good crowd here today and that is great. My name is Sangeeta Jash and I am the Assistant Manager Marketing Communications at Jade Global and also your moderator today for this webinar. We have Mac here with us to discuss this topic in more detail. I would like to tell you a little bit about our company. Jade Global is an Oracle Platinum partner and is a leading information technology services and solutions provider. We deliver the right combination of business knowledge, product and technical expertise, project management, and flexible delivery models to every engagement to ensure every client's long-term growth and success in business. For more information, please visit our website www.jadeglobal.com. Now I would like to introduce Mac. Mac is the lead consultant at Jade Global and has over 14 years of IT consulting experience with 10 years of extensive Oracle application experience and has been involved in a number of Oracle EBS implementations with modules like CRM, project accounting, OTC, HRMS, and 11i and R12 upgrade projects. I will hand it over to Mac now, who will review the agenda and continue with the presentation. Over to you, Mac.
Thank you, Sangeeta. Hello everyone, as Sangeeta introduced, I'm Mac, and I will walk you through over this presentation regarding how ready we are for the online patching regarding the R12 upgrade. So on this agenda for this webinar is we are going to look into a couple of things, which is going to be the online patching, what exactly it is. After that, we'll walk over a couple of good things, more technical overview of technical stack, which is for the R12 upgrade, and the new features of the technical stack. After that, we'll walk you through a couple of other things, such as the overview of online patching, what are the prerequisites, and the patching cycle, how the entire cycle flows through, along with the backup and recovery. And once we are done, then we'll open this forum for a couple of questions and answers. So to start with, in traditional patching or in the real life scenario, till we go till 12.1.3 on all the previous EBS instances, typically what happens is when we are going to go for patching, depending upon how big is the patch or how small is the patch, we need to bring down the entire production system. Once you have tested it, you are ready for implementing those patches on your production instance. You need to bring it down, and what it does is it results in production outage, and whatever the impact it has, you have to face those impacts. So in that case, what if we have an option where we don't need to bring down the system in such a way that your business operations are not interrupted, the end users, they're online during this patching, there is no need to bring down the system for unpredicted duration of patching. The downtime can be predicted in a couple of minutes to a couple of hours, depending upon how you are planning your patching, and there is no need of maintenance mode. So to answer all these questions with R12.2, the solution is online patching. Before we move on to online patching, let's understand what is the changes in the technical stack of R12.2. First thing is Oracle introduced Oracle Suite 11G in their integrated SOA gateway instead of 10G. The new integration repository enhancement, which is the irape.oracle.com. You can either go to irape.oracle.com to get more information for all your APIs, tables, and other details in EBS Suite, or you can simply add one responsibility called integration repository responsibility within your instance, and you have access to all the information once again. With upgrade to SOA Suite 11G, the integrated SOA gateway supports asynchronous web services for purely called APIs. So what does it mean is, in general, when you are using SOA web services, mostly it is end-to-end at one go. Like once you kickstart any service, it will flow through till the end. With SOA Suite 11G, Oracle introduced something called an asynchronous web service, where it queues. So once you initiate a web service, it can go and sit on other side in a specific queue, and once the reaction has been generated, it will pull it back. This way, the end users don't have to wait till the web service is completed. Going forward, with R12.2, Oracle is going to use access managers, so they are going to replace the single sign-on. They are also They have also replaced the Oracle Web Center portal by Oracle portal. The middle tier, the OC4J10G is replaced by WebLogic server, and the best part is going forward with R12.2, you will have many of Oracle database 11G release 2 version. So this is the overall new stack, which is very close to Fusion middleware for R12.2. A quick thing about what is the basis of online patching. So in previous versions, we had something called a shared top. What it used to do is we used to have different file systems sitting in different locations depending upon either your environment is a DMZ environment or it's a shared Apple top. But all those multiple file systems used to support only one running application. So that was one of the ideas which Oracle took into consideration while creating the online patching. That is on the file system basis. Where on the database side, what Oracle did is they introduced something called as EBR in 11G version, 11.release 2 version. What it simply does is it uses something called as edition-based re-recognition. What it means is within a given database, it will create multiple editions, and taking in new editions, you can redefine all your objects which are edition object. And with the edition, you can always make multiple copies of the same object within the same database in such a way that it is isolated from each other. So when you are running the upgrade, you just simply make a copy and move ahead. When it comes to editions object, all the objects which stores the data, such as materialized views or database tables, those are not editions because they carry huge amount of data. But all other objects are clearly edition objects. The objects such as packages, procedures, functions, synonyms, triggers, all of them. And once you are in the multi-edition mode, when you enable the edition-based redefinition, that time changes to one edition will not impact the overall processes in another edition. If you are having multiple editions within your database, you will use something called as cross-edition triggers, which are forward and backward to share the data between these two editions. So with shared Apple or shared Apple top and with edition-based redefinition, online patching gives you a fantastic feature of not bringing around your servers, not bringing around your instances, and still complete your patching as well as keeping your users online too. So let's move on to the next slide and understand how it works. So basically, with online patching, Oracle introduced a couple of new features within their EBS environment. The first thing they did was they introduced a tool called ADOP, which is AD Online Patching, which is going to replace AD Patch tool. This will handle the entire patching cycle. Next thing they did was, instead of single file system, they have introduced mandatory three versions of file system. There are something called as file system 1, which is run edition, which supports your running application. Another one is called as file system 2, which is patch edition, which is a copy of your run edition, but sitting dormant until unless you are ready for patching. You apply all your patches on this edition. And the third file system is called as FSNE, which is a non-edition file system. So as just like database, when it is non-edition file system, it means it stores data, your files such as log output or report output or data files, which don't need to be duplicated. All those objects sit into the non-edition file system. On the database level, whereas we have single database within which we have multiple editions sitting inside there in an isolated manner. One edition, which is main edition, is called as run edition, and which always supports the running application. The second one is patch edition, which is once again a copy of the run edition, and you will create this patch edition when you are ready for patching. There can exist one or more old editions. So not necessarily you have to have these old editions, but if you're not doing the proper cleanup of your database, then there may exist a couple of more editions. So let's take a look in more details about each of these. So first is, as I said, AD Online Patching, ADOP. First thing it does, it is going to replace AD patch. We will not be using AD patch anymore. AD online patching will give complete support for this patching. It also supports hot patching, but once we understand the entire cycle of online patching, most probably we'll never need the hot patching. But yes, as I said, it includes hot patching too. Also, it supports the custom patching, the way we used to create different versions of our custom code, and we used to apply those code using either migrations or AD patch if it is too huge of a code. The same thing can be done with ADOP. And one good thing is ADO online patching or ADOP also support third-party tools like Quintana and Mercury. So this ADOP is responsible for a couple of activities when we are initiating online patching. First thing is edition creation. So in terms of database, when you have to create an edition, you'll use ADOP as the first step. The second is synchronization. Like when you create a new edition, it ensures that the new edition is exact copy of your run edition. Then it is actualization. Actualization is a tricky term, so I need to understand and to make you understand more better. When you create a new edition, what happens is it just the new edition is not physically created. It just creates pointers to the run edition. It is just a logical section which is sitting in there. But when you actually start changing the code in the new edition, that time it actually takes the copy from run edition and physically creates that object in the new edition, and that entire activity is called as actualization, where you convert a logical or just the pointer of an object to the actual objects. Once that is done, then we'll move on to patch application. Whatever patches we have, one or multiple, custom or seeded, we'll use those. You will apply those patches. Once the patches are applied, you will do the finalization. Finalization is nothing but ensuring that all the objects are clean and valid, and you are doing your instance health check. Once finalization is done, you move on to cutover, where you swap between run edition and the patch edition. And the last activity is cleanup, where you clean all the old editions so that no more debris or no more garbage is left within your instance and it's not consuming any of your resources. So that's a brief about ADOP. Now let's move on to the file system. R12.2 file system is a little bit different as compared to previous instances or previous versions of EBS. We are going to have three mandatory file systems all the time. The first is called as run edition. As I said, it supports the running instance of your EBS version. The second is patch edition, which is copy of run edition but sitting dormant unless you are ready for patching. And third is non-edition file system, which will carry all the file system objects which are storing some kind of data, like log files or your report outputs, something like that. So once you are ready to upgrade, when you are installing your R12.2, that time itself, Oracle will ask you 3 different file names and 3 different directories where you can install these file systems. That is brief about file systems. And when you're ready with these file systems, when the actual online patching happens, that time what happens is the run edition during the prepare, the first step of online patching, you simply take all the objects from run edition and copy it into the patch edition. And when you are ready for going live with those patches, it simply swaps. It converts the run edition into patch edition and patch edition into run edition. That is just a swapping of role. It does not mean that you are creating new files. It is just you are synchronizing the files and then swapping up with the new code so that it supports the currently running production version. In terms of database, it's a little bit different as compared to the file systems. In database, you don't need multiple editions. At any given time, there can be only one edition, which can be the run edition, and this run edition supports running application. Once you are ready for online patching, you will copy that run edition to create a new edition, and that's where your 2 editions can exist during the patching cycle. The patch edition is nothing but just the copy of run edition, and then it is used for the patching by the patching tool, and it is just created at the time of patching. It does not exist before or after the patching is done. And there can be existing couple of old editions, and this happens when we are not cleaning the entire ADOP cycle is not completed and we forgot to clean up as a post-patch implementation process. So these old editions are obsolete editions. We don't need it, and I think we should take care all the time that when we are completing the online patching cycle, this is taken care by running the cleanup method. So before we move on to how exactly online patching works, let's take a look at what are the prerequisites for online patching. So when you move on to R12.2, your database is upgraded to release 11G R2, and for that you need to ensure that your custom code is supporting that specific EBR versions, edition-based redefinition. So for that, Oracle provides you a utility called as Online Patching Readiness Report, and it is a patch. This patch is available to all the customers who wants to upgrade to R12.2 or at least verify their current code and current customization, that whether it is valid to move around to R12.2. This utility can be used on all the versions of previous EBS releases and even on R12.2 before you actually enable the online patching. To get the more details about this specific patch, please refer to Oracle Support document 1531121.1. Now, let's get inside this specific patch. This specific patch consists of 5 different scripts and 5 different checkers and reports. The first is called as Online Patching Database Standard Checker, or in real world it is called as Standard Checker. What it simply does is it scans data dictionary for objects and code for online patching development standard violations. Objects that do not comply with this standard checker or violates this standard checker may behave incorrectly, or they may become invalid totally after online patching. And this all violations need to be manually corrected. There is no direct automated way to get rid of these violations. It has to be addressed manually. The second part is called as Global Standard Compliance Checker, or Global Standard Checker. What it does is it basically scans your entire file systems for any violations of standard which is going to be during your online patching enablement. It includes various enforcement code, which is called as EFC, and that checks all the common standard issues along with the online patching details. The next 3 important SQLs which are provided by Oracle as a part of patch is the first thing called as ADZDPS-UM.SQL. What it does, it goes, when you execute this specific SQL, it goes and checks all your custom schemas and lists all the schemas which are referred in EBS object but which are not editioned. So as moving to 11G, database version 11G, you need to have every object which is editionable to be editions. And if there is a violations for this SQL, or results are violated, you have to manually correct these to ensure that you are enforcing the EBR standards to your custom code. The second thing is called as ADZDPMN.SQL. It lists all the objects which are violating the EBR standards. So the first one is on the schema level, second one is on the object level. And once again, all the violations has to be manually corrected because it's a custom code and Oracle won't know what exactly has to be corrected to ensure that the violations are addressed properly. The last one is called as ADZDPAUT.SQL. And this, what it does is it basically lists all the objects that violate online patching enablement standard. Like you are already implemented R12.2 and you are ready for online patching, that time you will do something, an activity called as online patching enablement. And during that, there are certain standards to be followed. So this last script, what it does is it lists all the violations which may hamper the online patching enablement. The beauty of this is we don't have to do anything else for these violations. Once we enable this online patching, it will adjust automatically all those violations which are a result of ADZDPAUT.SQL. So using this prerequisite or using the scripts provided by Oracle, at this point you can just check what are the things you have to take care if you want to move ahead and upgrade it to your instance to R12.2. So let's walk quickly towards what exactly is online patching or how it behaves. So basically in online patching, you have 5 different steps: prepare, apply, finalize, cutover, and cleanup. So each of these steps is devised, or it addresses specific issues. The first thing is called as prepare. During preparation, what you do is simply copy your production application code and create a new edition. In terms of database and in terms of file system, you will simply synchronize to move all your running application code into the patch application code or patch edition. Once you're done, your patch edition and your run edition are synchronized. They are the exact same mirror image of each other. Then you will apply the patch. It may be your custom patch or it may be serial patch, one or more, but this is the time when you apply the actual patch. Once patch is applied, then you do an activity called finalize. What it simply does is it validates and it ensures that there is no loose threads hanging around, and basically it validates all the code, it compiles all the code, and does a health check. The beauty of this is during these first 3 important steps, your users are online. They are not hampered by this patching activities. They are keeping their work going, and there is no disturbance of applying patch on your current running application. The next is cutover. So let's look at cutover. So during cutover cycle, which can be very brief, up to maybe like 5 to 8 minutes, depending upon what activity you are going to perform. But in general, if you are following the steps properly of prepare, apply, and finalize, then your cutover activity should not take more than 5 to 8 minutes. During this cutover cycle, what you do is you log off all your users and shut down application to your services. So no more users are logged in. After that, you will actually execute all the required cutover activities, which are nothing but swapping your run edition with the patch edition and the patch edition with the run edition. This can be done by configuring your autoconfig, and once you execute that, the system internally creates and changes the necessary configurations, such as changing the file system 1 to as a run edition and file system 1 as patch edition, whereas taking the latest patch edition and putting it into your database as the run edition database. Once that is done, then you will do a final maintenance, and once the final maintenance is done, you will restart application tier services. Once that is done, your users are back online, and this whole activity can take less than 5 to 10 minutes. Once your cutover is done, basically, the last activity which can be once again done is called as cleanup. The cleanup activity, what you do is you basically just copy the latest code from the patch edition, which is now the run edition, into the new edition so that it is already synchronized. You just keep it ready. This activity is done twice at the end as a part of cleanup cycle as well as the prepare cycle to ensure that the code is always synchronized. And on the database side, what you do is you simply remove all the old editions which you don't need anymore and just delete them. So this way what happens is on your file system, both the file systems are in sync, and on your database side there is only one edition which is up and running, which is supporting your running application. So that's the activities you do during cutover and final. Now there is always a question that how we can do the backup in case something goes wrong. So first thing first is during prepare, apply, and finalize, the first 3 important steps of your cycle, you can abort at any point of time. You don't want to go ahead with the patch because you found some reasonable doubts, so you have already done your prepare, apply, and finalize. You can still do the abort. And doing this abort, which is a part of your ADOP, you simply discard the new patch edition which you have created. But once you move ahead and do your cutover, basically you have started using the new patch edition, and that time the abort will not work. In that case, there are only 2 options left. One is retry your cutover. Reason being, when you are doing this online patching or when you are doing patching, you must have already tested it in a development version or a test instance multiple times to ensure that it goes fine, it moves fine. And that's why it may be like the cutover activity itself has something gone wrong, and that's why you can retry the cutover activity. If that doesn't work, then the last option left is restoring to the previous version, which is nothing but restore. Here I would like to highlight one more thing. Abort is currently available only in release 12.2.3 and higher versions. It's not available in previous versions of 12.2. Specifically, let's move on to the custom code now, because that's the main concern all the time. With R12.2, Oracle has retained their Oracle Application Server 10G Release 3, which is just like your previous R12.1 version. So that's why if your forms and reports you already developed in Release 10G, then the overall form or reports behavior, there is not going to be any impact on that. But any objects which you're going to use, which are like seeded or custom objects which are referring within your forms and reports, you need to take care of that, because once you move to online patching will use only edition-based objects. And if your customization is using direct base tables, that will impact overall performance and overall data filtration of your forms and report objects, or even the job objects too. So the only thing which you need to take care when you are moving from previous version to R12.2 to ensure that within your custom codes, the UI codes, which are forms, reports, and the objects, you are using the EBR views, not the base tables. On database object side, it's a little bit different story. First thing first is your VPD, the Virtual Private Database Policy, must be always pointed towards edition or the table synonym in the apps version. No more directly in the core schema of any given module. What it does is it provides you the filtered results of editioning views to ensure that you get consistent representation of data. What it means is, because when you are applying a patch, if the definition of the table is changed, the new edition will have the new definition and the old edition or the running edition will have old definition. So when you swap, you will get the new definition which is supporting your running instance. But the old edition will have the old definition. If you don't use the edition views, this entire activity may get hampered and you may get incorrect result. Now, in terms of edition object, as I said previously, any object which stores data within database, it is not edition. But any other objects which are logical, mostly like DML operations, such as used for packages, procedures, functions, triggers, libraries, different types, and synonyms are views, all those objects are editions, so it can be copied over to redefine in a different ways. When you are defining these new objects, or when you are enabling, or when you are preparing these objects for the R12.2 update, a couple of rules need to be followed. First is a non-edition object cannot depend upon an edition object all the time. You will have the non-edition object independent sitting there, which will be pointing toward that, but it cannot be based upon an edition object directly. The second is you cannot have foreign key constraint anymore. Reason being, all the constraints are moved from base table onto the edition views. It was not a previous case, but going forward from database LNG R12 release 2, you'll always have your triggers sitting on your edition view, not on the base table. Usage of cross-edition triggers to ensure data is stored properly in the tables. The cross-edition tables are meant to populate the data forward and backward between the two different editions. One is the run edition and the patch editions. In case you are defining something in your new edition that the data should be populated in a different way in certain columns of a new table, then you create something called as the reverse cross-edition tables, cross-edition triggers, which take the data from the running edition and start putting into a new definition of patch edition. And if you want to refer it in an old edition, you create something called as forward cross-edition triggers, which will populate data from the patch edition before you start using it into your old running edition. And the last part is you will move all your triggers from your base tables into editioning view table on editioning view, which is represented by a hash. Let's move on to the next slide. Propero is one of the tools which is very helpful when you are moving on to take a decision for R12 upgrade, whether it's R12.1.2 or R12.1.3 or R12.2. All the editions of all the versions of EBS is supported in that. So let me give you something brief about this Propero tool. It basically is a tool which will perform a health check on your code, on your entire system. It gives you all the details of the customization objects in terms of your database objects, application objects. It also prioritizes your customizations, and it will provide you the details how to get rid of old obsolete objects or remediate the new objects. It also provides you the details about what is the volume, what is the overall percentage of your master data as well as transactional data, and what activity you can plan in terms when we decide to move on to the R12 upgrade. What are the resource, what kind of resource you will need, and what kind of efforts you will need to plan for this activity. It provides an upgrade path. Also, it using this tool with all the reports you can generate with this tool, you can do the delta training for your end users. Propero tool is Jade Global's own Propero own tool, and it is right now available to all the attendees for evaluate and analyze purpose. You can just log into this tool, or we'll share the link to this tool, and this tool is available for all of you to just go ahead and test it and evaluate for your own custom code. The good thing about this tool is it will provide you all the necessary files to extract code, and you can load that code in the Propero to analyze and drill down the impact, what are the changes you may need to do on your custom code. You don't need to load all of your code. You can just create your own profile and just load some sample code to do the evaluation of this code. This tool will provide the complete details of what are the changes which you need to do in the custom code, whether it's R12.0, R12.1, or R12.2 upgrades. And this detailed report is in such a granular way that it will actually pinpoint to the location, exact location of your custom code, that what objects, serial objects which you're using in your custom code needs to be changes, need to be remediated, need to be updated, or need to be removed altogether. This tool is very helpful to not only analyze your code, but also generate the report to define the activities which you may need to take during your remediation process. With this, I would like to tell you one more thing. Like currently, everybody is worrying about how long we are going to get support on our current existing versions of EBS. So currently, EBS 11.5.10 is already the support is already gone. And right now we are on extended exception support for sustaining, and this support will be completed by third quarter of 2015. On 12.2, currently we are on extended support. All the versions, all of them are right now on extended support, and on the first quarter of 2015, it will be moved to sustaining support. 12.1, all the versions of 12.1 are currently on the premier support, and the extended support will start from the last quarter of 2016, and by December 2019, this support is also going to go away. Whereas R12.2, which was introduced in the open world last year in 2013, we are going to get the premier support till first quarter of 2019, and after that, the extended support is going to be there till mid of 2021. So we are talking about around like 8 to 10 years of support provided by Oracle officially. We wanted to introduce this because this will help you on deciding what kind of EBS version you want to upgrade it when you are deciding one of the deciding factors for your R12 upgrade. As a quick roll call, or as a quick view what exactly you should choose between R12.1.3 or R12.2, let's take a couple of points. You would want to choose R12.2 if you want to implement and take advantage of the functional and technical enhancement or overall of R12.2. Just like R12.1, there is a lot of functionality changes in R12.2, as well as there is very closeness to the Fusion middleware in R12.2. The technical stack is totally changed. You want to take advantage of the signature feature, which is online patching, which is one of the biggest pain point, because bringing down the server and reducing your productivity is always a pain point to the industry users. The next thing is you want to take advantage of Fusion middleware, which is introduced in the R12.2 technology stack. And during upgrade, because we are upgrading right now, you want to prefer to invest only once to move to the latest version of EBS instead of having two steps, that moving to R12.1 and then to R12.2. This point will help you if you want to choose R12.2. In terms of R12.1, your current version is 11R, which is 11 for the previous version to 11 for 11.1.10, 11.5.10, which is not supported for a direct upgrade path. So if you are having a version, EBS version, which is previous to 11.5.10, then there is no direct path, and that's why you will be forced to move to R12.1.3 before moving to R12.2. If you prefer to upgrade to established stable version instead of latest version, and there is a common consciousness in the industry saying that R12.2 was introduced just a couple of months back, and that's why they want to move on the established version, not the latest version, but the established version. Then your option is 12.1.3. And definitely you would prefer to move to R12.1 till extended support expires in a couple of years before you make a big move to move on to R12.2. Couple of do's and don'ts when you are planning to move to upgrade R12.2. First thing is you should always take enough time to understand all your development and methodology, how your coding standards, how your naming standards, all kind of standards you use during your customizations. You should always test all of your migration in a non-development testing environment so that when it moves to production environment, it is stable and usable from the day one. Use patches to load and modify your customization using various utilities provided by Oracle. If you go to Oracle support, there are a couple of tools provided by Oracle which you can use to apply patches for on the current instances. Going forward, try avoiding, not try, but you should stop using the base table name in your custom code. You should always use app synonyms for all the objects you're going to create. And when you're converting your custom code as a seed table, as a master data, for EBR enablement, Oracle will always introduce a unique index called as ZD edition name. This is just like an who column, that going forward, any table you create, the way we have who columns in EBS tables, we will introduce this one more unique index called ZD edition name. That is for do's. And for don'ts, do not call the database object directly, no more ONT.OE auto status all. Instead of that, you will directly call the app synonyms, which is sitting in apps. This will indirectly point towards your edition view, which will capture the proper definition for the current edition, not any modified editions. When you want to query the data, you can directly use the synonym where VPD is applied. VPD is your MOAC view, MOAC views, which is going to filter your data as per your orgs. Or if you want to use, you can directly use the underscore all synonyms. You should never drop existing table until the cleanup phase of patch is executed, because that's a part of cleanup phase. If your cutover is in between your cutover phase, and if you already dropped the columns, you may not restore it back. Dropping existing column you should avoid all the times, because it may be replaced with the new revised column addition, or it may be sitting there obsolete without any usage, but it will not hamper your current executing applications. And dropping any logical column in the edition view is not supported at all.
All right, so you can find all our contact information on the slide. We are headquartered in San Jose, California, with offices in Los Angeles, New Jersey, Orange County, San Diego, and India. If you have any questions or want to know more about our solutions and services, then please call us on the numbers displaying on your screen right now, or you can also email us at marketing@jadeglobal.com. We'll help out with any query you have, and we have one last question which we want to take. We just came in, and it says that is Propero cloud-based?
Yes, it is very much cloud-based, and that's why it is available online. You don't have to install anything. You have to just go ahead and we provide the link. You just need to create your profile, and from there it will provide you all the instructions for your code analysis.
All right. So I think we can, we have one more question, which says, does this tool need dedicated hardware?
Oh, no, we do not need any dedicated hardware. This is a cloud-based solution, and that's why you can just do everything online.
All right, thanks. So I think we can wrap up the question answer session now, since we are just in time. And we are going to follow up with each one of you. We are going to call you and we're going to contact you, and we are going to answer all your questions. So, and thank you very much for attending today's webinar, and we will talk to you soon. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, Sangeeta.
Thanks, Mac.